the father of the Highland Park mass shooting suspect is speaking out. So in an interview with the New York Post, he denies any responsibility for what happened, despite the fact that he sponsored his son to get the weapons used in the massacre. Now, he also talked about a 2019 incident where police were called after his son threatened to kill everyone. He said, this is what his quote was, he said it was a quote-unquote childish outburst, and that all the knives that were confiscated by police were, quote, just a collection, like how he used to collect coins and baseball cards. Okay, so what do you think of this father's explanation? Does it make sense, or is he in denial, or is this because parents today are much more hands-off? We want to hear from DBL Nation. What would you say to that, Al?
I would say I think everything's been illuminated, Gus, in terms of like how we got to this point. If you're able to walk away and deny what the police at your house, deny the fact that your son has 16 knives and a dagger, deny that your son is painting insane things on your home, if you can say that's a silly outburst, then what else do we have to discuss here? We know right now that we are dealing with somebody that is not thinking rationally and cannot be depended on for any kind of credibility moving forward. You have to now leapfrog the parent or parents, because it doesn't seem like there was any discipline coming out of his home. And, you know, maybe just focus on the kid and maybe focus on some punitive damages for dad.
Yes.
Because I wonder if this is negligence at this point, like willful negligence that caused people's deaths. That's all we're talking about if we kind of remove the emotion.
And it seems like the dad is enabling, just by, you know, even knowing that his son had a history of mental health issues, a history of calling and threatening the family, even if it was childish to him to have so many knives, to be in that position and then go with him to get that FOID card, which lets you get firearms in Illinois, is to me just crazy. And I think when you start seeing repercussions like for parents where the mass shooter gets the gun from their parents that wasn't locked up properly, or the parent helps them get the gun in certain states like Chicago, then, I mean, like Illinois, then you'll be in a position where people will be deterred to take more responsibility for their children that turn into adult killers.
Yeah, I think enabling's part of the problem with parenting in general these days, right? Everyone's a victim of this, everyone's this, my son's not that, it's the problem over here. Everyone's deflecting where the problem is. The problem's in your home. And there needs to be culpability, responsibility, and repercussions for the father. He enabled, exactly, he signed the card. If I signed off, Al, on a bank loan for you, and you don't pay, guess who pays? I do, because I signed. He signed off on that, right? He had the signs. The son with a gun, a picture that he drew on the back of the house saying, I'm going to kill my family, myself and my family multiple times, and saying it's under control. I'm surprised this guy spoke out, because he got a lawyer, which is ironically enough R. Kelly's lawyer, which didn't work out so great for R. Kelly. But I would just clam up if I were this guy, because all arrows are pointing to him. And I don't want to make him the problem in this. The kid who shot the gun is the problem. And my whole thing is, and nobody likes this take, is there needs to be bigger repercussions. I believe death should be involved. I mean, at the moment, he shouldn't be alive right now. If we know you cause a school shooting and you walk out with that gun and you're the person that did the mass shooting, there are no constitutional rights. You should be put to death. I don't care what your father says. I don't care what your best friends say. You need to be put to death. If we're not going to change the gun laws, let's change the repercussion laws.
Well, I also would say, you know, you said the interview was illuminating. I also would say I do blame this father. And I'm not one to blame parents. I really am not. But in this situation, a lot of the neighbors have started speaking out. And again, this is you could boil it down to saying that's hearsay, right? Nobody really knows if the neighbors are truthful, but it seems to be where there's smoke, there's fire, because they're all singing the same tune, where they have called the police on this household multiple times because they had heard them fighting, the father and the son. It seems like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It seems like maybe they share, and this is my speculation, the same ideologies, and the father really did shape his son to who he is today, or they're just both narcissists, and you're right, they have that victim mentality. But regardless, I would like to see that father held culpable. I don't know how the laws apply to that.
As you're talking really quickly, there are kids that adults and people in the area know are a problem. As you just like unlock this weird memory. I remember when I was a teacher, I was probably maybe halfway through my first year, and we were in our department meeting, and we made an announcement that a certain student was returning to the school, that I didn't know why he was not at our school for a year. And the math teacher at our school like stood up from her desk and pushed away and was like, I will not have him in my class. And it was like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, what's going on? And the student had a very violent interaction recently. And, you know, this person was not at our school for a reason. And so when you start bringing these people back in and everybody knows the reason that they were not there is because of violence, and then they commit said violence, well, then we have a direct path as to how they got back into the school. And when we start making those people pay, we'll start having to cover a lot less and less of these stories.
Agreed.